Have you ever just felt totally overwhelmed by a huge decision you have to make at work? I mean, with everything coming at you, globalization, endless streams of data, intense competition, making the right call feels harder than ever. Well, that's exactly where this really powerful concept from business analytics comes into play, the Decision Support System, or DSS. And today, we're going to demystify it and figure out what it is and why it matters so much.
Okay, so here's the plan. We're going to start by looking at the modern decision dilemma, why it's so tough to make a choice these days. Then we'll get right into the definition of a decision support system. From there, we'll explore what it can actually do for you, its core capabilities, and finally, we'll take a quick look back to see how these systems came to be.
First things first, let's set the scene. Before we can really appreciate why a DSS is so important, we got to understand the incredible pressures that managers and decision makers are dealing with every single day in the business world.
I mean, let's be real, it's just a wildly complex environment out there. Thanks to technology and globalization, you've got way more options to consider for any given problem. But at the same time, you have so much more uncertainty from things like new regulations or a competitor's surprise move. On top of that, you're expected to make decisions at lightning speed, and the cost of getting it wrong can be huge. Just relying on your gut feeling, it's often not enough anymore.
And this model here does a great job of showing that whole dynamic. It's called the Business Pressures, Responses, Support model. So over on the left, you see all these pressures hitting the organization: market trends, new tech, customer demands. In the middle, that's the company itself, trying to react and make smart moves. But how do they do that? Well, that's the support part on the right. It shows that to really respond well, you need solid analysis and data to back you up. And that's the perfect entry point for a DSS.
So, with all that pressure piling on, what's the answer? This brings us straight to the heart of our topic today. Let's define what a decision support system actually is.
Okay, so what is a DSS? At its core, it's a computerized system built to help people, not replace them. Think of it less like an autopilot and more like a co-pilot. It's there to help you navigate those really messy, complicated problems, the kinds of issues that don't have a clean, easy answer and absolutely require your expertise and your judgment to solve.
And this is a really key distinction. Think about it. A simple, structured decision can be automated. Something like, when inventory for this item drops to 50, automatically order 500 more. Easy. But a semi-structured problem? That's more like, should we expand our operations into a new country? A computer can't just give you a yes or no, but it can give you all the data on market trends, competitor analysis, and financial models to support your final call. That's the sweet spot for a DSS.
All right, so we get what a DSS is for, but what does it actually do? How does it help a manager who's wrestling with one of those big, messy problems? Let's break down its core capabilities.
So what's the magic here? Well, a DSS brings a few superpowers to the table. First, it can process huge amounts of data way faster than any human possibly could. Second, it helps manage and organize all that data so it actually makes sense. Third, and this is a big one, it helps us overcome our own cognitive limits, our natural biases. It gives you the objective data. It also helps teams communicate and collaborate better, and because it's web-based, you can get that support anytime, anywhere.
When you put it all together, what's the ultimate goal? The whole point of a DSS is to help close the strategy gap. Now, what's that? It's the space between where a company is right now and where its strategic goals say it wants to be. A DSS provides the analytical muscle to make the smart, informed decisions you need to bridge that gap and actually execute your strategy.
Now, it's worth remembering that these systems didn't just appear out of thin air. To really get the full picture of their impact, it helps to take a quick look back at where they came from.
If you look at this timeline, you can see decision support systems popping up way back in the 1970s, which was the era of those giant mainframe computers. And for its time, this was a completely revolutionary idea, to use computers not just for basic number crunching, but to actually help managers think through complex what-if scenarios. This was a critical first step, and it really laid the groundwork for everything that came after.
And that's because DSS wasn't the end of the line. It was really the beginning of a long journey. The ideas that started with these early systems evolved directly into the big enterprise systems of the 80s, then the business intelligence or BI tools we saw in the 90s, and all the way up to the world of big data and AI that we live in today. It's all been one long evolution of getting smarter and smarter with data.
Which brings us to a really fascinating question for today. In an age where AI is getting so powerful it can automate incredibly complex decisions, what's the role for human intuition? The whole point of a decision support system was never to replace the decision maker, but to supercharge their expertise.
So as we look to the future, the big question isn't whether machines will replace us, but rather, what does that perfect partnership between human insight and machine intelligence look like?